Hey everyone, welcome to my first episode of my new series on Kerbal Space Program. Today we're going to be launching a functioning communications network for RemoteTech with some assistance from MechJeb. In this series I'll attempt to run a semi-realistic space program with the use of mods, which I'll list in the description below. So this is mission 1 of our series, officially known as ComSat-1 or CS-1 for short, and we're riding an Orion Heavy rocket in the 3.1B configuration orbit. Alright, I've gone ahead and time accelerated the video some. Now this is a pretty large rocket carrying quite a hefty payload, and in real time from pad to orbit it's about a 15-minute launch. So I've skipped ahead here to MECO, or main engine cutoff, and we'll watch as Orion continues to orientate itself as it gains altitude. Now here we're using MechJeb ascent guidance while maintaining manual control over the staging. And we have main engine restart beginning our circularization burn. Alright, so we've skipped ahead again here as we approach booster separation. So here I'm keeping a close eye on my booster's delta V, watching as it counts down in milliseconds to empty. And we have a clean separation. Now again we're going to focus on the current stage's delta V and watch it tick down to 0, and we'll separate the Rigel upper stage from the Orion boost core, or OBC for short. So now Rigel will continue to orbit. The payload consists of 3 identical communication satellites attached to a manned deployment vessel, or MDV. Really, the MDV is just a Mark II capsule attached to the Orion's large Rigel upper stage. Now that we've reached orbit, we can safely jettison the payload fairing and engage our solar panels. We're going to go ahead and bring up MechJeb, go to Maneuver Planner, and change our apoapsis to an altitude of 1500 kilometers. This is going to be the altitude we'll be deploying our satellites at. Now we'll watch the MDV as it repositions itself and begins its burn. So as you can see, we have a red dot on the surface of Kerman. That dot represents KSC, and the purpose of this mission is to arrange a satellite network to maintain contact with that dot. The RemoteTech mod requires you to either maintain contact with KSC via satellite network, or rely on manned control to operate your spacecraft. Now I'm going to time accelerate a few orbits until the MDV is over KSC, so our satellite has connection when deployed. The green line confirms our connection with mission control on the ground. We'll be deploying our satellites at our apoapsis of approximately 1500 kilometers. So now that we're approaching apoapsis, we'll be making our final preparations for deployment. We'll go ahead and start by maneuvering the MDV to the prograde vector using the RCS. So now that we're in position, I'm going to right-click on the probe core of the satellite being deployed and select Control from here. This will allow us to maintain control of the satellite after we've jettisoned from the MDV. Now earlier you can see I went ahead and extended a few solar panels and antenna. Without the Omni antenna mounted to the probe core activated, the satellite would become dead the second I deploy it, so this step is vital. So here I've right-clicked the decoupler and I have my cursor readied as I wait in real time to reach apoapsis. And release. Now I activate my engine, open MechJeb, select Maneuver Planner, and circularize. So now our satellite is on its way and we can go ahead and give it a name. When naming your satellites, it helps to have a system in place to help keep track of them better. I'm going to go ahead and finish extending our solar panels and activate the last dish. Before we activate our dish, we have to set its target. This dish will be set the target min-miss. The other two have already been set the target moon and active vessel. And we've done it. Now we're going to go ahead and disable our RCS and engine to prevent any accidental adjustments. Let's go ahead and go back to the MDV and prepare our next satellite for deployment. Alright, just like last time, we're going to go ahead and extend some of our solar panels and begin targeting our dishes. We'll set the first dish for active vessel and the next dish for moon. All three satellites are configured the same, and once completed, this network will give us constant communication capabilities throughout the Kerman system. Alright, so here I'm going to time accelerate until I have connection with KSP and ComSat-1. Now since this is a 3-satellite network, we'll be deploying them in a triangular pattern, so I'm going to wait until I have the right distance from ComSat-1 to release my next satellite. The orange line connecting the MDV and ComSat-1 represents the signal bounce. We want to make sure this line stays at a relatively high altitude to ensure stable connection. So this looks like a good spot. Let's go ahead and deploy our next satellite. Just like before, we're going to go ahead and right-click on our probe core and select Control from here. Next, we're going to right-click the decoupler and prepare to jettison. That's another clean release from the MDV, and again we'll activate our engine, open MechJeb and select Maneuver Planner, and circularize our orbit. With MechJeb in control, we'll finish extending our solar panels and activate our other dish, setting its target first. And now that we've reached orbit, again we'll shut down the RCS and engine and jump back to the MDV. So now that we're down to our final satellite, it's safe to extend all of our solar panels and communications instruments. Again, making sure to set targets for all of our dishes. Target vessel, moon, and min-miss. With our final checkdown complete and satellite prepared, we can go ahead and time accelerate until we're in position. Again, we're remembering to keep the orange lines at a relatively high altitude to maintain a solid signal. Alright, this looks like our shot. Let's go ahead and prepare for deployment. With final checkdown out of the way, we just have to jettison and we're off. We'll use MechJeb to circularize, and now ComSat-3 is on its way to join ComSat-1 and 2 to complete our short-range communications network. All three of our satellites have an orbital period of 2 hours and 49 minutes, which will minimize orbital drift over time, which means they'll require very few adjustments. Back at the MDV, we're going to jettison the payload mount and begin landing procedures to bring our Kerbals home. Again, I'll be using MechJeb, select Maneuver Planner, but this time I'm going to circularize at periapse. If we try reentry without first lowering our orbit, the deadly reentry mod and in-game physics will destroy the craft. So once we reach periapse, we'll go ahead and make our burn. And we've lowered our orbit. We can now safely plan our reentry. Alright, after multiple hours of playing, I mistakenly set my descent trajectory directly to KSC, not accounting for atmosphere or planet rotation. Normally you should set your descent trajectory just past KSC to the east over the ocean. The weight of your reentry vehicle will ultimately determine your trajectory, however. So now I'm going to go ahead and retract my solar panels to prevent them from tearing off due to the intense stress of reentry, and now we're ready to jettison the Mark II capsule from the Orion's Rigel upper stage. Alright, so pretty standard reentry from here. So now we're just going to monitor the craft for signs of damage or overheating. "35 kilometers, systems nominal." Alright, 19 kilometers and we've had a little scare. The Mark II craft suffered damage to one of its drag chutes. The remaining drag chute and 4 main chute temperatures are still within range. We've skipped ahead now to 4,000 meters and we'll deploy our main chutes. Do a quick inspection of the damage and we'll open our remaining drag chute. Just under 900 meters and our chutes have opened, rapidly slowing our descent. And now we're just moments away from splashdown. And there we are, back on the surface of Kerman, floating safely in the ocean, awaiting our recovery. Here it is, a final look at ComSat 1, 2, and 3 providing constant communication capabilities for future missions at Kerman, Moon, and Minmus. So I want to credit the YouTuber GrunfWorks for inspiring the probe design, and I highly suggest you check out his videos for detailed tutorials on how to use the RemoteTech mod. I've left a link to his channel in the description below. I'm Randy Ragus, this is Kerbal Space Program, thanks for watching.